Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Crysis 3 Super Soldier video walkthrough. This is Chapter 3, The Root of All Evils, and the beginning of this is quite awesome for hunting and savagery if you want to be the stereotypical invisible predator, or you can take the more quiet route of stealthing around, what I'm going to try and do here. But a couple of things to bear in mind: there's a lot of guys in this sandbox. And that's how a lot of the levels are designed. They give you this open area. It's a self-contained open area, but it's still big. It still gives you an impression of scale and of worth and value. And they fill it with a lot of dudes, a lot of vantage points, a lot of ways of approaching things, and then they tell you to get to a waypoint. And I think it's an interesting and it's a great system. It's sticking to what Crysis does well, but it's doing it on a scale that is more contained. Because I've played Crysis 1 since, and it's my favourite, and I didn't think it would be, mainly due to the fact that I don't usually like those kind of games. But the first Crysis, when you play it, you have access to the entire island, and that can be really overwhelming to a player like me, who enjoys a general sense of where to go. You know, I'm not the guy who plays sandbox games to drive around for 7 hours to do stupid shit. I did that on Grand Theft Auto's back on the PlayStation, and I got it out of my system. I'm a guy that enjoys a path. I like to know where I'm going. So that's not really my thing. But the first Crysis gave you a really interesting choice. It was literally, here's this big island, this massive play area for you to run around blowing shit up and driving cars and shooting stuff. But here's a waypoint of where we would like you to go. And I think that's a good system, and it's a system that games like Skyrim have and Fallout has, and I think that's one of the things that makes those games so unique and so worthwhile when it comes to playing them. Somebody's seen me there. Do you see it go to yellow? They can see something, they don't know what it is. But that's some good fucking eyesight, considering I'm up against some rocks that are dark and I'm wearing a dark fibrous suit. So, but I killed the guy on the scaffolding because I know he's going to be a problem when I come round this corner. Not only is he a sniper, but he's the guy who's going to see you if anybody does. And it's one of those things where when you kill one guy, you might as well kill a few others. But that guy over there saw me. As soon as it went red, I went back into stealth. Everybody's going to be looking at that spot now where I just was, so you use this opportunity to get some battery back and then get as far up here as we can. So, I'm going to sit in this corner in all this foliage and hope no one can see me. Does it work? No, it doesn't. That guy saw me. Which, I have a problem with how foliage works on this game. If you stand behind a bush, and don't get me wrong, I was kind of to the side of the bush then, so I was asking to be spotted. But it should work like a brick wall. There should be no ambiguity about it. It should be that really gamey moment of, it just works because it's a game. You know, there doesn't need to be overanalyzed, doesn't need to be anything more, important or pretentious. It works because it does. And right here, I trip an invisible wire and get that turret shooting me. That guy starts to shoot me, my health goes critical, I use the armor, then go invisible so he can't see me. Kill him so I can get some life back, and then I'm going to probably stealth around this or just kill it with lightning. There you go. So that right there, that was a bad situation. I made a mistake. I forgot about those tripwires. I tripped one of them, but I was able to recover because the game just isn't as hard as Crysis 2. I think Crysis 1 is harder too, but the thing with Crysis 1 is I didn't die too much on that game either because I'd just come off of this one. I was in a big Crysis mood, and I played that game stealthy too, and I think I got quite lucky with the first game because the checkpoints are really terrible. They're spaced out massively, and I was really enjoying it. I was having a load of fun and just doing it and playing, and when I went to the forums after I'd beat it and I was looking at people complaining, everybody was saying it was the hardest thing ever. And that they were dying and that the checkpoints were massively spaced. They had to do tons of things over and over again. And I recall back to playing it and having a couple of hairy situations thinking, wow, I nearly died then. And I didn't die. But if I had, I would have lost a ton of progress. And I can imagine it getting, quite hard. But I didn't. So I didn't have that experience. So I thought it was quite pleasant, actually. I thought it was quite simple. But it just turns out that I didn't get as unfortunate as those other people, or maybe they're not as experienced as I am with Crysis. But that first game, guys, is, for its age, I think it's a really good game, and I didn't think I would, because everybody tells me, when I was younger, when I was at secondary school and Crysis first came out and no PC could run it except for NASA, and they were too busy, you know, pretending to go to the moon and stuff, it was this big thing. It was, you know, oh, Crysis this, Crysis that, and like a lot of the reviews told me that, you know, aside from the graphics, the game did things very averagely. It had average shooting, it had average this, average that, and it made it seem really underwhelming. And I actually started to look at it as quite negative, because my friends used to tell how awesome and, you know, how great the graphics were, but how the gameplay was kind of shitty. And I finally get down to playing it on an Xbox 360 of all systems, which, you know, is not the system to play on to play that game, because you want to play it on PC. That's where its home is. That's what it was designed for. And when I played it, I actually found it to be the most, you know, the most overrated, underrated game I'd ever played. That's what I tweeted. And what I meant by that was, everybody had said that this game was, you know, was great graphics but crap game, making it completely overrated, because everybody used to talk about it as this big amazing thing. Now, you know, several years have passed. I'm not too sure how long has passed, but it's quite a long time. And I go back to play it, and it still holds up even in the gameplay aspects, which, admittedly, I did a lot of stealthing. I did a lot of waiting for the patrols to pass me by, and if there was one in my way, I popped out of cloak, I shot him in the face with a silenced gun, I popped cloak back on, and I carried on. I did a lot of swimming, I did a lot of wide berths around enemy camps, you know. I played it like a ninja, and I had a lot of fun and found it great. I did not play it like a shoot 'em up. And I think that's the problem that a lot of people had. Back when this game came out, or when the first game came out, people were playing Serious Sam. People were playing, you know, Unreal Tournament. People were running around shooting, circle strafing. And if you try and do that on Delta, on Crysis 1, you're going to get shit stomped. You're going to get turned into pate. And I think that's why a lot of people didn't like it and thought it was broken and shit, because they tried to play it like a generic first-person shooter. And that game gives you the ability to be that, but it also gives you the ability to be much, much more. And I think that's where it really shines. And I prefer the system on the first Crysis a lot more than the ones that followed it, because you had a power function and a speed function on top of armor and stealth, and I really like that, because on this game you've got stealth, you've got armor, and then when you do a punch, it does a power punch. The speed is completely gone, and I think that's because this game probably wouldn't have suited the speed function, but I'm of the mindset that every game would suit that function, because that speed is amazing. It literally is. When I first did the running, I was just amazed at how fast he ran, how fast you could, you know, traverse, and the camera does this interesting effect. It literally looks like you're moving through the ether as an astral body. It's a trip, and it's great because you move super fast as well. You know, it's like a hallucination scene in a Danny Boyle film. It's super good, and it's really fast, and none of the games have had it since, and it just baffles me because I think it's amazing. But this is Crysis 3, and I am going to be talking Crysis quite a lot if I can. I'm going to be telling you, you know, what my mindset was on some of these stealthier moments, because I find the stealth guides are easier to tell you my strategy on, because the guides where it's just a lot of shooting, you already know the strategy, and I get really annoyed by people who say, you know, why don't you talk about the gameplay on a game that is completely self-explanatory? And it just makes me think, if you need somebody to tell you to shoot people a lot and not die, like, why are you even watching it? Because the guide itself is showing you what to do. It's showing you where I'm hiding, showing you where I'm sitting, showing you where I'm shooting, showing you what I'm shooting, showing you, you know, what gun I'm using, how much bullets I've got in that gun, how much bullets I've used with that gun. It shows you everything. I don't need to tell you to reload when I'm reloading. You know, we're adults here. Well, some of us are. Some of us are young adults. You know, we know how to play games at this point. I don't expect anybody to pick up a random game and put it on its hardest difficulty if you haven't got past the whole press the trigger to shoot the dude. concept. You know, things have to be learnt. You can't teach everything, guys. And the thing that happens is, if I start tailoring my content towards, you know, someone who's never picked up a controller, then the people who have picked up a controller will get frustrated. And they'll get frustrated because it's like I'm talking down to them, and I'm stupefying my content, and it's not something that I'm willing to do. Because the majority of people who find my channel, and the majority of people who enjoy my channel, know how to pick up a pad. You know how to follow what's in a video. Respect the fact that I'm not talking about the gameplay because I didn't think that particular section warranted it. You know, it's the people who don't, who generally get a curt reply, and then if they continue to start stalking shit, I block them. It's that simple. And it's not because I don't value an opinion that disagrees with me, or I don't value some constructive criticism. It's literally, this person will never see what this channel is supposed to be, and they're too fucking stupid to stop watching and go watch something they do enjoy, that they just want to start up a needless argument that wastes everybody's time. And in 6 months' time, I get another comment that I look at restarting the same argument when somebody says something to this person. So it's so much easier to kind of stamp it out in the bud and continue to do what I'm doing. And that is the foundation of this channel. And like this section, for instance, I've not really mentioned much about this. I've not really killed anyone. I've not really done anything except show you how to stealth into these two areas and touch these two generators to turn them off. Once you've done that, all that needs to be done is to get out of dodge. I like to think watching the video would help you do that. And at the same time, while you watched, you learnt a little bit more about the mentality of this channel. If you don't care, it doesn't matter. You're watching another video in 2 minutes anyway. If you do care, you're now a little bit more informed. And, you know, there's a lot of stupid people on the internet, guys. And the worst part is they're the ones who shout the loudest. Thank you for watching, and you take care now.